All right, so now, keeping in mind again that the general form for any conic is, whoops, helps to have a pen, ax squared plus by squared plus cx plus dy plus e is equal to 0. But your hyperbolas, your standard form, looks nothing like that. It looks like this. So what we're going to do is practice going from being in standard general form for a conic, which is what we have here on number 1, and making it look like that. Okay, so just like we've been doing for the last 2 days, we are going to use completing the square to accomplish that. Okay? Now, one thing I want to show you before we move on. You're given a conic equation here. When we look at that, how can we tell that that is a hyperbola? X is squared and y is squared, so therefore it's not a parabola. Okay, but how do we tell if it's a hyperbola versus a circle? Huh? No. Your x is positive. Your x squared is positive, right? It's positive 11. But your y squared is negative 4. Because this one's positive, this one's negative. They have opposite signs. That's where it's a hyperbola. If it were a circle, then your y squared would be a positive. They would be the same sign. All right? Everybody with me? Marcel, you with me? Okay. Now, I want to show you how we're going to do this. First of all, I want to start with gathering together my x's and my y's. So I'm going to regroup. I'm going to go 11x squared, helps if you have a pen, 11x squared minus 22x. So I put those two together. Then I'm going to put my y's together, so minus 4y squared minus 16y. Now, what do you think I should probably do with that 49? Add it to the other side. Move it away. All right. Now, does anybody see anything that kind of stands out with 11x squared and 22x? They both have factors of 11, okay? So I'm going to factor, well, the 4 and the 16y don't.
Well, I mean just like the 11.
Just for the x's, yes. I'm going to factor out that 11. Oops. Now, just an 11, because I'm going to keep the x squared and then what's now a minus 2x, so that I can add my magical number over here so that I can complete the square. That's going to look more like what we have up at the top. All right? Now I'm going to do the same thing with the y's. So I've got, I'm going to switch colors. What is my, what can I factor out for the y's? A minus 4. So negative 4 times what gives me negative 4y squared? Y squared, and then times what will give me negative 16y. So plus 4y, and then I'm going to leave my blank there for my magic number to make a perfect square, and that's going to be equal to 49. But what else do I have to add? The 2 blanks. So I've got my plus blue blank and my plus red blank. All right, so let's go back and let's complete the square. I'm going to bring down that 11. I'm preparing my binomial squared. All right, what is negative 2 divided by 2? Negative 1. So that goes here. And then negative 1 squared is plus 1. So that's what goes in the blue blank. Now, I added a plus 1 on the left side, but what did I really add? 11, because I've got this 11 on the outside here. So what do I need to add to make it equivalent on the right side? An 11. All right. Now, what about for the red? Let's bring down that minus 4. Preparing my binomial squared, y plus something squared. Take my middle term, 4 divided by 2, and what do I get? 2. Now square it. 4. That's what goes in my magical blank. But on the right side of the equation, what do I write? A negative 16. Because negative 4 times the positive 4 is really a negative 16. All right, so all of this, red, white, and blue, is equal to 49 plus 11 would be 60. Minus 16 would be 44. Oh, that's so convenient. It's interesting. Interesting. Now, let's look over here, not that one, this one, at our standard form for a hyperbola. It's set equal to what? 1. I've got mine set equal to 44. So what do I need to do?
You divide 11 and then you divide 4.
By what?
For the 44.
Okay, so I'm going to divide everything by 44. And all of that is just so I can have my 1 on the right side of the equal sign, because that's standard form. That's the rule for the hyperbolas. Now, do y'all see why I said, oh, that's convenient that we got a 44?
Well, couldn't you just divide by 11 and then divide by 4 throughout? Would that work throughout? Or?
Not throughout, no. Now, I can simplify 11 over 44, right? 11 goes to 11 how many times? Once. So that would be just x minus 1 squared. But 11 goes into 44 how many times? 4. Now do you see how we're starting to look like that equation on the top? All right. Now, on the red part, minus 4 over 44, I can simplify that to be what? 4 goes into 4 just one time, right? So I'm just going to write that thing again and ignore the 1. 4 goes into 44 how many times? 11. So now my equation looks like my standard form up here. All right. Can I quit after one example of that?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I figured. We've practiced completing the square a lot. All right, so listen.